Joss Cole, I'm an artist, and I run Cole's Gallery, gallery space in Leeds Corn Exchange. So I make art myself and exhibit painting and artworks by Leeds artists and interesting painterly artists from around the UK too. I started the gallery just in a small, very pretty, but small shop space in Leeds Kirgate Market, which is just over there. And I was there for 3 years during the pandemic and various other minor crises. And then I think partly because of the pandemic, I think rent prices came down here, so it made sense to expand the space over here. When I was really young, I used to do a lot of drawing, like dinosaurs very much, and so I drew a lot of dinosaurs, and because dinosaurs are extinct and never lived at the same time as them, the only way you can see it have a dinosaur represented is if you have to draw it. You know, there's no, the photographs of it. It only exists as some sort of creative rendering. So that's, you know, I find that idea interesting. You in some ways you're drawing from life because you maybe use the bones or whatnot to make them, but you have to eventually have art to know what a dinosaur looks like. And then the very drawing and painting became the interest. And that was also through my dad took up watercolor painting, and so I kind of learned watercolor painting along with him as a kind of foundation of because I do watercolor painting and oil painting, but as a kind of foundation of how I make paintings in a kind of watercolor technique. We did a somewhat regular route of going to art school. So I went to art school at Loughborough School of Art and Design, and then I did MA at Wimbledon College of Art. And in the meantime, here and there, did like all artists, did various different other jobs supporting your art practice. So I'm a figurative painter. I make paintings about of things, from cityscapes to landscapes to a kind of poetic representation of ideas or texts or poems, and I like to keep with them a kind of restless energy, a kind of expressive, loose flowing painting quality that is, if not painted from life, but like it's been painted from life. And I was looking to sort of collaborate with other artists, or I saw lots of artists that I admire and they weren't showing very much, so I've wanted to sync my own making of paintings with curating and exhibiting. I guess kind of the analogy I like is if you're some idiot bloke with a guitar, you can normally find some pub somewhere, or you can normally find an outlet for your cliched singer-songwriting or music. exhibition is called Town and Country, paintings by Phil Hopkins and Jonathan Hooper. We normally have a major change around of the gallery exhibition each month or so. These two painters are local Leeds artists, and so we have like large works and smaller works, kind of a mixed hang of Jonathan's and Phil's paintings. Jonathan painting the town or his area of Leeds, and Phil painting the country and his walks and walks and acrylic painterly patterned pictures of the country around where he lives and where he visits. We also in the gallery have these print browsers of lots of different artists' prints of their original work or original prints, like this woodcut by Adrian Sestini, and original drawings, mono prints. All at the same time with their print editions as well as the main exhibition. And I also stock the fabulous Wallace Seymour paint materials paint. I've got our own, so they make vintage watercolor paint and ancient paint pigments from history or from raw materials, just great original awesome paint. And so we sort of commissioned them to source the pigments from William Blake. So this is a William Blake historic watercolor palette, and then we've got like a set of oil paint. It's just the best stuff. Sums it up really. Then we have other work displayed and the plan chest and the paint, and also certain artists we do like an artist talk, and so we'll have people present and talk about and discuss their practice as well. I guess a few different processes, artists that I've known, I've worked with before, artists that I've come across and seen. I think I'd really like to work with them. Sometimes exhibitions are thematically led, so it's a sort of wanted to do a watercolor show or a show based around a certain concept. We look for artists that work. Some other artists just come and chat and they, I think all that might work. Or some other artists or artist groups submit proposals to show, and could we show a few works as a group? Days vary with things. So if we're setting up a new exhibition, we'll be having new work being delivered and old work collected, and we'll be measuring up and planning out hanging new work. So they're quite busy days of a mixture of curating and sort of technical putting things up. And other days I have just the galleries open. I've got different visitors to the gallery, hopefully walking past, or people have planned to coming to see the pictures, and I'm just talking to them and introducing them to the artist or the work. Oh yeah, super. Would you like a little program? Here you go. You know Jonathan's work? Yeah. Yeah. Very familiar. Yeah,
Yeah,
got a friendship going. Yeah, yeah.
No, I was intrigued because he was a nice guy.
Right, you're right. Yes, yeah.
And he said, and these pictures are fucking
Yeah.
you know, and I'm thinking, personal collections. I'm just having my house refurbed, so while it's not there, I've moved them into. They've actually moved them into the nursery.
It's amazing, isn't it?
That's that's a strange thing to do.
Well,
Amazing.
Yeah.
But almost incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
We did have 2 or 3 crackers, but before I realised, I said, "Oh, that's a bit muddy." That was 50, so.
Other days I use the space as my studio and I'm making paintings or drawings, and that's also good to have a bit of interest. You know, have somebody working or myself working in the gallery, making some pictures, which is always good to talk about with people when they come in. Yeah, there's a lot of consolidating in your own space, and there's less of the tribal and collaborative nature to it than perhaps you would have in smaller places. It's partly the pressures of people having to survive, so they have to consolidate what they're doing, otherwise they'd cease to exist. So you can't collaborate if you don't exist. So people have to consolidate, don't they? So yeah, I think that's a problem. That's a problem with Leeds, and probably other places. There's not if you're worried about the rent each time, then you can't, or it's too expensive to put on a show. You can't then invite artists to be in it. You know. But that being said, there's always more that can be done. But there's some good projects and. These guys produced a Leeds art map just before and maybe a bit during COVID, which listed all the places and that worked very well. But then I guess they were limited by funding and COVID as well. So it varies. There are opportunities with council call-outs for public art that people can apply for, and there's good. There can be good funding for projects. Myself and 2 other artists that I show in the gallery, we recently won a commission to have our designs or some of our work enlarged on vinyl to help revamp a tunnel, road tunnel just to the left of the train station. And so there are opportunities like public opportunities for artists and exhibitions and galleries and spaces do what they can to put on things, but yeah, it's outlets for artists that's limited, which government funding, council funding should do more places for artists to show and cheaper rent for creatives or small businesses or anybody to make things, to have space to do stuff. Yeah, there's just not there's not much subsidy for that. I think it makes sense for investments in art and artists, because I think for every pound invested in art, in the arts or the Arts Council determines as art, for every pound invested in that, there's £2 return to the economy. So it makes sense, but it's the first thing to be cut when you have ideological austerity for the last 10 years. You don't want to just make work and pine for another time but I think it's good to be aware of maybe what was working because there is no great line of progress, I don't think, which the rest of society seems to think that's how things function. Especially economics and science. It's probably true in science, but with lots of things, people think that everything must improve. We must continue. Everything must progress. But in art, it's not. There's more of an awareness that there isn't this great march of progression. A lot of the greatest things have already been, and now it's a reinterpretation, a re-understanding of them. And there are many great things now, and there are many great things in the past. It's not just like this upward curve, Similar as anybody, I'm lucky because I have this space as an outlet for my own work, but you also want to show other places, do other things, and you want to increase the platform for your own work. Your normal artist problems of trying to realize the stuff you want to make. It's great because that's what I try to bring to my own galleries, is to show really great artists and pair them with others so they can bounce off each other, inspire each other, and there's a connection. And that's the same thing I want to do, is show the good artists, learn from them, and I just make challenging work that questions what I'm thinking about painting, and hopefully ask some sort of questions about itself as painting too, or to ask some good questions, I guess.